This vid is going to show you a solo GM with a build that counters a nerf recently happened in the game. I'll cover that in a minute. The important thing though is that GM is Warden. Warden's an easy GM, and Lotus Eater is still up for grabs. So people who have not got Lotus Eater God Roll yet, you want to be doing it before reset. It's dead important because it's going to be a long time before you're able to farm this again. The Adept version at least. Also Cruel Mercy's up for grabs, and it's a very good pulse rifle. It is good. It's dropping without masterwork, but that's a bug. Don't worry about that. So you're going to get chance at Cruel Mercy and Lotus Eater. So it's an important week, but obviously we've had Right of the Nine, so we've all been busy with that. And Heavy Metal. The surges for Warden are Arc Surge, Strand Surge, Solar Threat is on. Champions are all of them, and there's a couple of GM mods not worth mentioning. So the nerf that happened was with Lord of the Wolves. So I want to go through it with you quickly because it's important. The Lord of Wolves nerf was a 30% hit to its hip fire damage. Now, this is nowhere near as bad as what people thought. Lord of Wolves is still a fantastic S+ weapon in the game right now, and you can counter the nerf. Let's go through the numbers. Now, according to Aegis, the nerf was 28%, not 30. 28%. Right? Well, Surge buff is 22% at times 3, and at times 4 surges, it's 25%. So if you have a times 4 weapon surge build at all in the game, you will do 25% more damage with Lord of Wolves. That means we are only 3% worse off from the 28% nerf. That means Lord of Wolves is insanely good still in GMs and in dungeon content. This build, you can use it for solo DPS or fire team DPS, and I highly recommend that hunters do this because it's countering the nerf. Right, for Warlocks and Titans, there's alternatives too. So you've got Sagwine, that's going to give times 4 surges. So you're going to get that for Warlocks. Titans, it's a little different. You're going to get a 35% buff to shotgun damage, which is higher than what I'm offering today. So Titans technically have the best Lord of Wolves setup, technically, because it's a higher buff, right? So the build that I'm on about, and I'll showcase this. This was from my Discord, right? So this was from a few weeks ago, but I figured I would use it again after nerf, and it still melts. So Mask of Bakris gives a times 4 weapon buff to stasis and arc weapons, but it also has a secret interaction with Lord of Wolves, giving it a times 4 buff. I believe this is intended, and I've talked with other people about this, and this is the intention. Light Shift is meant to mimic a Overlord champion. What do Overlord champions use, everybody? It's Lord of Wolves, right? So the Light Shift is probably intended to work with Lord of Wolves for the buff. You're getting solo weapon surge times 4 with Mask of Bakris. Intended, because you're mimicking a Overlord champion. Right? So that's why it's so strong right now. It's incredible to use it. So let's go over the build then. So Sounds and Squall needs to go on. You need a Stasis Serpent equipped. Gambler's Dodge. I'm using Snare Bomb for overshields and weakenings. Dustfield Grenade. Aspects was Freddy's Spectre. Stylish Executioner. Fragments was Facet of Ruin, Protection, Hope, Dawn, and Balance. Pairing that with obviously Mask of Bakris for the Surge buff. You want a good mobility stat because you're going to be locked out of dodge ability energy for 10-11 seconds, but it's not too much of a problem. I've got a band-aid for that. It's still well worth to run this build with Lord of Wolves. It's unbelievable, on a hunter at least. Now, I've heard people say, use Fortracer, use Fortracer. This is why Fortracer is not as good with solo builds. Now listen closely. You need to match an ability to the weapon to get the buff. Therefore, you need solo in your kit. In my opinion, on Prismatic Hunter, the solar kit within Prismatic Hunter is not good enough. Here's why it's not good enough. Swarm Grenade, it's one of the worst nades on Prismatic. It's not strong enough. Fan Knives, Knife Trick is the worst melee option on Prismatic. Not good enough. Gunpowder Gamble is good enough, but you need to invest a full aspect to it. Not worth it, in my opinion, for Fortracer. You do have, however, you could run, Marksman's Dodge and follow that up with your, Golden Gun, follow that up with Lord of Wolves damage, but that's just every super usage. So this is far less inconsistent. Fortracer 4 Solar Surge builds on Prismatic is no good. I hope Fortracer loyalists understand it. Not good enough. Mask of Bakris is an easier proc for Solar Surges. This is therefore superseding Fortracer. Fortracer is only good when you match a lot of elements together at once, like with Barrow Dyad and stuff and such of this nature. Mask of Bakris for Lord of Wolves supersedes it because it's an easier proc, less build crafting needed. Okay, so armor mods. I've got a heavy ammo finder, kinetic siphon, double focus and strike, kinetic loader, double solar resist for Warden with concussive dampener, solar scab for Lord of Wolves, strand holster because it supersedes reconstruction. Pro Memoria comes with reconstruction, but you can build craft further by not using it and using strategist. We are strategizing by using strategist because then it's like, well, the gun doesn't auto reload. Well, yes, it does, because reconstruction has been power crept by holster mods in GMs. This has been for ages. Yes, it's power crept reconstruction. You don't need to use it. You just use a holster mod for LMGs in GMs. I'm not talking dungeons. I'm talking GMs. It's power crept it. No need for reconstruction. Why do you need it? We can get more dodges because of this, which means more clones. This is OP. Utility kickstart, bomber, procs ward, all the rest of it. Weapons wise, like I say, Lord of Wolves, Pro Memoria with the role I've showed you, and Buzzard we're using because it's insanely good for Transcendence Energy and it's just a really good weapon in the game. I'll showcase it off. You could use double special. You can do it, no problem. It's up to you really, but if you've got Buzzard, definitely try it out. Artifact mods that was important: Defeat Blast, Heavy Ordnance Regeneration, Flashover, Maligned Harvest for Overshield and Smoke Bomb, Dreadful Finisher for Infinite Special, and a couple of other mods. We got Peace and Sidearm, Overload LMG, but that was the most important mods regarding this build. On with the run. Okay, so in this run, let's evaluate the damage that Lord of Wolves is actually doing to champions and bosses, because it's absolutely melting, and you'll see it. Absolutely worth your time to run this, because there's a lot of survivability from Smoke Bomb Overshields, allowing you to play very aggressive, especially Mask of Bakris grants invulnerability. Yeah, it does. So I'm going to do the pipe skip. I'm not going to skip the champ. It looks like I am, but I'm not. I'm going to scan the ghost, then kill the champ. Just best way of doing this. So I'll just get rid of this goblin. I'll get a quick scan. So let's watch the gameplay. So we get a smoke bomb down, get infinite. We get the overshield. Then we dodge from the Minotaur. I'm using the Mask of Bakris teleport to dodge back away from melee attacks to then melt them with Lord of Wolves ×4 Solar Surge. Did you see the melt? How fast that was. And the amount of light energy that I got. My light energy is full already off one champ. So the goal is to Dustfield, Overshield from Smoke Bomb to get Radiant to then have the ×4 Solar Surges. I'm going to sparrow past these ads, but again, I'm not skipping. I'm just skipping to where the unstop is. I'm going to get rid of these two phalanxes. I get weak. Look at this though, I'm very confident. Yeah. Overshield goes in, Dustfield, we teleport off the Unstoppables attack. Boom, we melt, go invis, we go to the next champ. This build is a champion killer. And it's very good for DPS in dungeons, etc. And raids, depending on what raid boss we're talking. Because ×4 Solar Surge. Yeah, it's higher than ×3. So, same thing in, we go with the Smoke Bomb. Then the dodge, he just gets melted. But try and finish your champs. It's actually hard to finish champs to get special ammo on this, because you melt them that quick. It's incredibly good. Just going to keep sparring past. We're going to do a little trick here. Here we go. A Little kickflip there. I'm just going to go to the back of the map. I want to save Transcendence. I could get it back really quick, but I'm going to just save it because I'm going to get to the next room really quick. Smoke bomb, dust field, and then just melt. Going to try and get a finisher kill here. That's what I'm doing that on intention. Use a bit of buzzard there to clean up. Get rid of this sniper. I'm going to farm up strategist. Actually, I'm just about getting my dodge now, aren't I? Champ pushes. See, I made a slight error and I used my dust field and shouldn't have on the barrier. But look at my dust field grenade. I've just about got it. So I'm about to use it. So it's not too much of a problem. A slight criticism of the run. Should have saved dust field for this guy. For unstop. Right. We get the dust field down. Wait for the freeze. Then do shatter damage. Wait for dust field to do the freeze. That's your unstop. And your Transcendence will do all your unstops as well. Okay, so now we're going to farm up some dodge energy with strategist LMG here, look. Get my dodge back. I'm going to finish these hobgoblins. I'm going to use a super here. Bad super. It hits the environment. That's unfortunate, but that's alright. So I'll use buzzard from a range. It's the only sidearm in the game, legendary-wise, that can do this. No other sidearm can do it. Only Forerunner can do this, but that's an exotic. Look at what it's doing here. Right, it's just dealing so much damage from it. It's actually beneficial to take the Hydra before you go here. It structures this entire room if you do it. I know it's 20 seconds slower, but so what, man? Yeah? Getting rid of the Hydra means you can focus on the right barrier, which is the hardest part. Make a clone. Then I'm going to get some ability damage and then use Buzzard. Look at this capability of this sidearm. Then I'll melt with the LMG because I can't get to the champ with a lot of wolves at this minute. Well, I mean, I can, but my goal is just to deal with the barrier from this position, go in Viz, and then melt the next champ. There's an explosive barrel that could kill me, so I've got to be careful here. We do the same. Smoke bomb for Radiant to get the barrier shield. Goblins push me here, but that's fine. Whip out the LMG. Very confident in the gameplay to do that. And it's good because you're going to get another clone. So if you really do get weak, make a clone. You will definitely survive because if it all go in Viz, you can, of course, from your abilities. So now what I'm going to do is defend the stairs and then start working on the Vex to spawn in the VIP. I've got both Transcendence and my super for the VIP. Just going to get some abilities in middle. I'm not going to put my Transcendence just yet because I want to use it on the VIP. The reason being is because Silence and Squall isn't doing the damage this week. And the simple reason is because it's no Stasis Surge. Yeah, the Surges really do make that much of a difference. Where if it's not Stasis Surge, you will notice Silence and Squall not quite do the damage for you against a boss. More of a utility super, to be honest, but you've got to use it because of Mask of Bakris. But don't let that put you off. The neutral game of Mask of Bakris is too powerful not to use on Lord of Wolves builds on Hunter. It's just that powerful. We pop Transcendence here. So the boss is going to keep TPing. Once he gets in a good spot, though, I'm going to get some good damage on him. Look, he's nearly dead anyways. And we've melted him. Now I want to look at ammo. So I'm max on Lord of Wolves. That is good. Heavy ammo's quite low, but it's not too bad. Plenty of opportunity to get more heavy coming up. We're using the LMG more as a utility pseudo weapon for more dodges, quicker ad clear at times when we want to whip it out, and it's for stuns on overloads if we need it, although I don't really need it that much. And yeah, it just speeds the run up a little bit. There's no need for a linear. The reason being is because Lord of Wolves is going to do all my damage against all the champs and all the boss. So the playback loop of having a linear on with Lord of Wolves for this GM at least is no good. It's not that it's no good, it's just unnecessary. Yeah, we need to recognise with builds is sometimes people will overcommit a build to too much damage in its kit. Yeah, it's not just a case of I need all the damage in the world. No, you need to balance it between damage and ad clear And Lord of Wolves does that tremendous amount of damage where there's no need for extra particle deconstruction damage. In actual fact, then you run the damage resist mod on the artifact with the LMG to add damage resist, because this build, whilst it does get amplified, it's not getting as much amplified as Gifted Conviction, right? Well, LMG resist is to supplement for the lack of woven mail, the lack of amplified, and we're supplementing it. Now, I'm making it sound bad, and it's almost like an advert for Gifted Conviction. Gifted Conviction's fantastic, but what we got to recognise is Lord of Wolves got nerf 30%. How do we counter it? Well, this build counters it. And there's a build for each one. Titan has no backup plans. Warlock has Sanguine Alchemy. There you go. That supplements and buffs up the Lord of Wolves, because it is noticeable if you don't have a buff. Lord of Wolves will not one cycle as quick. It'll do 2/3 to a champ before they put the shield up. But just having times 4 weapon surges puts the icing on top. And if I ever run Lord of Wolves on a hunter ever, this is what I'll use. Absolutely. Because the limitations of Foe Tracer is that you need to match elements, and Prismatic Hunter does not have good solar in its kit. It's not very good on solar abilities. I'm going to use a super here in mid, and I'm going to pop a Transcendence. Just waiting for these barrier champs to behave, and then we're just going to go in with Lord, because we've got barrier, of course, and then this is what we're going to melt. This Overlord has misbehaved. He's went out of the super. This is unfortunate. I'll pop a Transcendence now, though. That's fine. Let's just get rid of him. He's actually not fully stunned. There we go. Now he is. Okay, now we'll work on the next barrier and unstop. Just look at the tremendous amount of damage we're doing here to both. We want to get a finisher kill. This is it. We're going to strategize special bricks. We've still got Transcendence. I'm going to use it. Boom, look at that melt. And we're not getting all crits at times. You don't have to. It's more crit dependent, Lord of Wolves it is, than it was. But if you're body shotting with Lord of Wolves and you've got times 4 surges, it's not the end of the world. Sometimes you will body shot a champ. Because of our champ's stuns, he may stun awkwardly and you may miss the crit. You know, so things like that happen. But I'm saying that it's not a disadvantage to the gun. It's alright. Okay, barrier champ spawn kill. Here we go. Smoke bomb, radiant. Still got radiant weed. Lot of wolves. I need special finisher kills now. I want to avoid super if I can. You know, I don't need to pop super. I could, but look, I'm concerned with getting a finisher kill. And I can't. I need to back out. Reason being is because of the nades and things. So I just backed out. 50 on Lord of Wolves isn't that great. So I'm going to whip out the LMG. And the LMG has a high chance of giving me a special brick after a certain amount of kills. That's just how the game works. So eventually I will. But there's plenty of adds to orange bars. If you finish an orange bar, you will get a special finny. Right? So there's an orange bar right here. So here we go. There we go. We get the bricks and there's a brick on plate. 150 Lord of Wolves. Much more healthy. Much more healthy now. Yeah, now we've got another orange bar. This is why I like primary special heavy rather than double special. You've saw me at times run double special. But as far as my playstyle goes, I have much more control over my special weapon if I run a primary. That is just really how I play. It suits my playstyle the most. I can use double special heavy. I've used it. I was one of the first to use double special heavy. 2018, week 1. Go and check it. Triple shotgun Nightfall runs. One of the first to test it out. So I know all about it. But, like I say, if you run a primary, it means all your special weapon ammo goes into one weapon. This allows you to micromanage your special weapon ammo on a much better scale, providing that you've got a very powerful primary to back it up. In this case, Buzzard is a very powerful weapon. It's almost exotic rarity in my opinion, how strong it is. Yeah, but people don't know because they're not aware and they're misinformed. Don't be misinformed. Buzzard is a fantastic... We get weak here, look at this. Good movement. I overcommit to damage. It is a disadvantage. I was overcommitting to damage. It was a mistake, but look at how I recorrected it by that extra will to live. The will to survive sometimes will mean that you live to fight another day. Some people get weak, their shields get broken, their composure breaks with it, and then they die. If you can manage your health on a micro level, like the Armand GT days of years gone by, if you have that skill still, it's still at times still worth it, even in these easier GMs. Allows you to play more aggressive. But as soon as you've overcommitted to damage and you need to be more passive and have good movement, you kick into an extra gear and you can survive. That's more like a self-defense movement tool that you have, and it's reactionary. It's not something that you think about. It just ends up happening on a run. And that was an example of it. Okay, so ammo-wise, I'm not too good on Lord of Wolves, but I've got good heavy ammo. But look at all the champs. There's 4 champs to finish. So I'm going to have plenty of special weapon ammo for this fight. The goal on Solo Warden is always go for the 4 champs, on the right hand side at least. So first step, proper Transcendence and immediately target the barrier. The Cabal barrier, look. Get rid of him first, then use the back end of your Transcendence to deal with the Overload and Unstop. Now, you don't need to optimize this Transcendence that much. Just kill the 3 champs. Leave the barrier alone. Right? For now, at least. The Vex barrier. Again, it doesn't really matter too much because you need a super and a Transcendence anyways. So this is what we're going to do, look. Champ manipulation with KT, Buzzard, and a fantastic weapon for Transcendence energy. So let's just take a look. So we're priming the champ. Look at this. By the way, watch this. I'm a king. I'm a Buzzard king. Look. Barrier is de-aggroed because my crit box is in a wall. Look at that. We're gonna play with him. He's called Jeff the Barrier Champ. Look. He doesn't know what day it is. He can't barrier because my crit spot was in a wall. I'm showing you some advanced tech. I'm showing off a little bit because I think sometimes I'm allowed to. Right? But look. I've got all the super, all the Transcendence. I do a special finny. I've got max Lord of Wolves. Here's how this goes. Transcendence first. Overshield, smoke. Nade. Dodge with Mask of Bakris. Look at the damage. Lord of Wolves loyalists. Look at the damage. And you're telling me this isn't a good weapon? No. That's a special weapon. Yeah? Then we do a super. And then another overshield. And another nade. And then cover. Look at that. So now my next goal is to manage the ads and get a Transcendence and kill the boss. I've got max darkness energy, but I need light energy. So Lord of Wolves is going to come in. Make a clone. Yeah, I'm playing aggressive. I've got a Ivan over in mid. Ads are everywhere. I've got an overshield. Look at how good the build's going. I need full solar energy for Transcendence. I've almost got it. Once I get Transcendent, I'm confident to melt this boss down, and you'll see the damage. You'll see what I do. Also, Lord of Wolves procs invis. Just look at this. Transcendence goes in. Overshield on the boss. Lord of Wolves rotations. That was a Lord of Wolves alternative build after the nerf. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you.